This is my first attempt at making sure you guys don't spend your wild cards incorrectly, as well as going over sort of the best cards in the set right now and the cards that are making the most impact. So when I say the most impact, I mean, people are playing them, right? We're actually seeing them be played, and they're actually somewhat successful, and they actually sort of justify their place in the decks that they're experimented in. So Strixhaven is sort of considered an underwhelming set by the majority of the community. I like it a lot. So I'm going to be going over this group of cards here on screen, from uncommons all the way to mythics. And I'm just going to be speaking on whether I think you should get the wild card or not, and my justification as to why. So I'm going to be brief today. I'm not going to go like super in depth, but this is a top 20 list or something of the best cards from Strixhaven. So we'll start off with a card that, right, this is an uncommon, it's a 1-drop. Everyone can easily realize that this card will be prevalent. It's one of the best 1-drops that we've seen in a while, and we've seen it in the Leonin Lightscribe deck, which I will go over. It is one of the cards on the list today. Very powerful aggro type of card. It is a human wizard. Those are relevant creature types. I think we can see this card upon rotation in Standard, and going forward we'll definitely keep saying it. Plumb the Forbidden, guys. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may sacrifice one or more creatures. When you do, you copy the spell for each creature sacrificed this way. So this card is actually popping up a lot. You can actually cast it without a creature on the field, so that's only if you want to copy it, right? In the pest deck that's been going around, you have this big trail of pests. That's cool. You can just do any little 1/1 token strategy. This card would be amazing on a commander board in a commander token deck. And yeah, you just draw a ton of cards. Presumably you have enough life that it doesn't matter. Absolutely going to be a powerhouse going forward. Humiliate has been going around, guys. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. You put a counter on a creature you control. So it's essentially agonizing remorse. However, it's not, obviously. It's so this is sorcery speed, same as agonizing remorse. You don't lose a life, and you get a counter. So in a lot of ways, it's actually better. In fact, I think, what am I missing that agonizing remorse did? But anyway, you'll see it going forward. It's definitely a cool enough card. It goes nicely on the Speaker of the Heavens, right? If you're doing an Orzhov build that way. Something to keep in mind. Rip Apart, guys. Rip Apart is a good card. You'll see this card going everywhere. And of course, these are uncommons, so don't feel too bad about spending your wild cards on uncommons. You should have enough to get the bulk that you're going to need. And you'll, of course, unlock these as you unlock packs. But this is so flexible. 3 damage for 2 mana. Right? That's decent. It's on rate to creature or planeswalker, so that's already pretty good. And it's flexible in the sense that it can hit an artifact or enchantment. The only thing bad about it is sorcery speed, but we'll take it for all of what it does. Reconstruct History has been going around. So I've been seeing this card in mostly like, I don't know, goofball decks. But, you can get an artifact, an enchantment, an instant, and a sorcery, and a planeswalker, all from the graveyard. So if you mill your entire deck, which Boros, red-white, is doing right now, you can get a lot back. So I kind of expect to see this, at least as a 1-of or something, or a sideboard piece, going forward. Quandricks Cultivator has been going around. It's sort of like Solemn Simulacrum. You don't draw a card when it dies, but you get an extra point of toughness. Okay, you can't get any basic, but it doesn't really matter. You're going to be playing this in Simic. So, Turtle Druid, kind of cool. This is actually a really good card. There's not much wrong with it. Yeah, you'll see it going forward. So now we're on to the rares, guys. So the Leonin Lightscribe here, to lead it off, is going to show you that the rares here, out of the selection, are all good, strong, in a vacuum cards. This card is good in the meta right now because going wide and mono white has already sort of been strong. Mono red has even been strong, so you can easily go Boros with this, which we are seeing a lot of. And yeah, pump the board full of creatures, lay a bunch of the cheap 1-mana, 2-mana instants and stuff that just were released, and you have a threatening attack step, guys. So you'll see this. It's also a cleric. Test of Talents going around. Counter target instant or sorcery spell. Search your controller's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name, and exile them. So you basically, if you cancel one thing, you're canceling all of them. That player then draws a card for each exiled card from their hand. So if they don't have another copy in their hand, which they often don't, right? Because you're usually going to cast this on turn 2. Presumably they don't want to take a hand with 2 copies of whatever. They want a diverse hand, right? So, often they won't even draw a card. And if they do, you got rid of all of those threats. You essentially thin their deck, but, all of those threats. For sure that will be consistent going forward. Very strong. Dragon's Guard Elite is insane. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or a sorcery spell, put a counter. So this is a great Magecraft ability. Magecraft is pretty good. Double the number of counters on Dragon's Guard Elite. Great. That is 6 mana. It's not too much. If this does go unchecked, you have a way of making this unblockable, which there are ways. I'm seeing that this is a strategy, or even just growing this and then flinging it right to the face is a strategy. So you'll definitely feel good about spending your rares. Oh, this was actually a uncommon. I'm sorry. My bad. I didn't even realize that. But Vanishing Verse, guys, exile target monocolor permanent. You'll see this. It's good. It's 2 mana. Instant speed. The instant speed makes it relevant. Elite Spellbinder. Probably my favorite card. I mean, this is my favorite card. My first Strixhaven gameplay. Go watch it if you haven't. That would be awesome. Orzhov sort of control hard lockdown with this and the silencer, which I didn't put on the list because of reasons. But this card is just so consistent. It's only 1 white mana, so you can splash it into most decks. And the blink ability, right? I'm going to release a gameplay video very soon. Stay tuned. With this guy, Thassa, ways of blinking, a whole deck of blinking creatures until the battlefield triggers. Very good. Selfless Glyph Weaver, insane. I just talked about how going wide is prevalent. Exile this guy, all your creatures are alive. They shatter this guy, they Doomscar. It's a Doomscar meta, so this card's good. Also, it comes stapled to Deadly Vanity if you're playing Orzhov, or you have a way of just like tapping for 3 colored mana with some other means or something, which can be done in alternate colors. You have a one-sided board wipe essentially, so that's really good. You can leave your biggest guy on the field and wipe everything else. Very nice. All right, Sedgemoor Witch is very strong. If you want to do the pest thing, this is a great card. Get 4 of this card for the pest deck absolutely right away. Definitely probably my favorite creature from the pest thing. The menace is relevant, and the war. They have to actually pay 3 life to remove this. Right? You're going to be swinging, hopefully getting in. Because in black, you're going to be playing removal, right? So you're going to, at the most, leave 1 creature so you can swing in for 3. And, of course, the ability is very strong. Create a 1/1, right, when it dies and gains a life every time you cast an instant or sorcery. So definitely strong. You can make many decks with this. Augmenter Pugilist is controversial. If you're going Simic, you're going ramp. This can ramp. You need to hit 8 mana. When you hit 8 mana, this guy becomes an 8/8. So that's essentially how that is. It's a little strange in my opinion, but that's how it is. It's 3/3 normally with trample. Decent. So you really have to be going for the ramp. And then choose target creature you control. Each other creature you control becomes a copy of it until the end of turn, except those creatures aren't legendary if the chosen creature is legendary. So if you haven't seen this card, you basically make all your creatures on board one of your creatures till end of turn for 5 mana. So for 5 mana, that rate's not like great or something because it can be stopped, counter, blah, blah, blah. But it is attached to a decent creature. So you'll see this card. Prismari Command. I think this is the best command. A lot of people agree. You can do 2 damage, take out something, kill a planeswalker, whatever. And you have card selection. Making a treasure token is relevant. You'll see why when I go towards the mythics. And destroying artifacts, just more flexibility. So 4 modes on this, all of which are good. And it's only 3 mana, so it's one of the cheapest, the second cheapest. Baleful Mastery is controversial. Read it. Basically 4 mana to do it normally. Exile target creature, planeswalker. 2 mana to cast it cheaper at the cost of giving your opponent a card. I don't know. The exile is good in a meta with Seasoned Hollowblade and Toskies and things. I think this card is good. I think there's enough indestructible. The gods. Yeah, this is cool. Draconic Intervention. Now, this is a one-sided board wipe for Dragon Tribal. If you build a Dragon Tribal deck, you need this. So if you're going to get dragons, and you have gold spans, you have Terror of the Peaks already, this can be good, okay? Or if you unlocked like 2 of the other dragons or something. You'll see when I get to the mythics, I'll talk a little bit more about this card, but very good. Blade Historian, you'll see it in the Winota decks. This card's good. It's 4 mana. I also want to point out, giving 4 pips of red and 4 pips of white is really good for devotion decks. And it's also a cleric, so those are both relevant things. And I like very much this has at least 3 toughness, so it won't die to Bone Crusher. So I think it checks out as a good card. Wandering Archaic. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery card, they may pay 2. They have to, basically, because if they don't, you may copy that spell. So when you have this guy on the field, they have to pay 2 for everything else, or we get to copy their spells. So that is a huge tax, and this can go into any mana because it's colorless. Any deck because it's colorless. Also comes attached to Explore the Vast Lands. Each player looks at the top 5 cards of their library, and may reveal a land card and or an instant or sorcery from among them. Each player puts those cards revealed each way into their hand, so it's generous to both, and each player gains 3 life. So it's only 3 mana. It's cool. It's like everyone wins card, and it's not so bad. It's not so overwhelming. It's just flexible, attached to an already good creature. You want to cast the Avatar half most of the time. Goes very good in the Ugin decks and stuff. So you've probably seen Mavinda going around. Now, Mavinda is crazy. It's 0 mana. You cast an instant or sorcery for free that targets your creature. So it's like a target your own creature, queen of the world or king of the world, whatever, queen. And you know, if it, you can still cast instant and sorceries out of your graveyard, right? Yes, but you have to pay 8. So that's what that text box is. You can only activate it once each turn, but very strong. It's a 2/3 flyer for 3 anyway, so that's kind of good. If you're not going to go fully devoted to instant sorceries, don't unlock this card, right? Gazleth Prismar is another one. If you're not going to go fully devoted to the treasure theme, which he does, then don't get it. This is one of the Elder Dragons. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Artifacts you control have add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana to cast an instant or sorcery. So basically, instead of having to sacrifice your treasures, okay, they can just tap. So that's good, because you want to lay your gold span, right? Without having to crack that treasure, right, to actually cast that gold span. If you don't have a 5th mana, right, you can at least just follow this up on turn, you lay this turn 4. Turn 5, you lay gold span. Then you have 2 treasures that you can then potentially get 4 mana out of, or 2 mana, whatever. You have the flexibility of that. But to not have to crack that initial treasure is very strong. And also, if you want to just put a bunch of cheap, like, the satchel, the satchel supply, whatever, or any of these cheap, like, 2 mana artifacts that help ramp and stuff, those can then just tap in this way. So there's some creative things to do. It's a 3/4 flyer. It doesn't seem that good, but definitely unassuming. And you'll see my Prismaria or Is It deck come out shortly. It's one of my favorites. Terror of the Peaks is in it. Everything's in there. Goldspan, Dragon, and then, of course, Draconic Intervention. So if you want to go full on dragons, this is the set to do it. Tanzania Quandricks. If you have a lot of cards and you want to fully commit again to the Quandricks theme, this is powerful. You're going to need just 2, right? You're not going to need more than that. When it enters the battlefield, double the number of 1/1 counters on target creature you control. Double the counters, right? So let's look at Dragon's Guard Elite, of course. Oh, this is going to be building up, getting huge. Oh, and then we lay Quandricks. Okay. If Quandricks can get bigger, or even if he doesn't, you may have, whenever he attacks, you may have the base power and toughness of other creatures you control become equal to Tanzania or Quandricks' power and toughness until end of turn. So basically, if you want everything to be a 4/4, you flood the, with the Scoot Swarm, you flood a bunch of beetles, right? And then just swing with this and all your beetles, and all of them will turn into 4/4s, and you'll essentially win. So that can be strong. Definitely some cool stuff going around with that. Professor Onyx, if you like black, two mythics on Professor Onyx. You won't need more than 2. I've been hearing rumors of just one-ofs Professor Onyx and a lot of even professional top-tier competitive decks in the Emergent Ultimatum decks, things like that. So Professor Onyx is very strong. Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, they take 2, we gain 2. That is good. That's a difference of 4 life every time you cast a spell, basically, if you're running a spell slinging deck. The +1 is good. It's card selection, and the -3 makes them sacrifice their biggest creature. So that's pretty good. It comes in with 5 loyalty. But in Vorinclex decks, my last video I just released about 15 minutes ago, actually, prior to recording this, you will see how powerful this can be. So this is a card. Yeah, this ultimate is insane. If you can just Vorinclex, then Onyx, and then ultimate, GG. Magma Opus, cool, 8 mana, instant. You know, it's controversial. Yeah, it's only 4 mana. You can only do damage to the face. I wish that was a little bit more. You could opt to do more for 8 mana, but you get so much flexibility. You also have again that discard clause on there to create a treasure. In the Galliseth deck, that's actually super relevant. There's also a very good card, like Torrent Sculptor, I believe it is, where it enters battlefield, you exile an instant, and you get counters based off the size of the instant, the converted mana cost. So, of course, putting these big spells in your graveyard is a thing is it wants to do right now. So this is a good card. I mean, you tap 2 permanents, you get a 4/4, you draw 2 cards, and you essentially take out 2 little things or do 4 to the face or something. So, very cool. You'll see it. This is my list. There's definitely some more uncommons that I didn't put on the list, but those are the ones that I've seen are for sure's that are going to be around. Maybe not like humiliate is going to be in every deck. It's only in the select like discard decks, those Turgid decks, things like that. So you got to really think about what you want to do, and then just watch a couple YouTube videos about sort of the strongest decks in the meta right now involving those cards, and you'll see what other cards synergize. But I hope this was helpful to some of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That would really help me. Don't forget to like it at least if you don't want to subscribe for some reason. I'll just keep making content, so I won't let you down. And my name's Zach, and you are amazing. All right, guys, good luck out there. Strixhaven is fun. Don't let the haters hate. And also, if you're a Tibalt's Trickery player, get out of here. Just kidding. All right, guys. Yeah. Bye.